Hey Charles, it's Addison. Kind of new on the Charles watching train. You came up on Gender Fork a couple weeks ago, and I was like, why am I not watching this guy? He's hilarious. So now I'm watching you. But I just got done watching your testosterone and emotional changes video, and first I wanted to thank you for the intro because I was having a really shitty morning, like really shitty, and that whole segue from the opening part into the actual video was hilarious and totally, like, completely made my day. So, I just want to thank you for that, as silly as it is. But, I think what you talked about is really important, and I think while there is more of a movement towards talking about feelings once you get on testosterone now, instead of the silence that was there before, I think it's still really important that more guys talk about it for a couple of reasons. I guess first because I feel like emotions are one of the few things that bring us together as humans, and really as animals, I guess, because I mean, even animals feel these intrinsic emotions. But I mean, even though men and women feel their emotions differently, we all feel them. Even if we try to play like we don't, we all feel them. All of us have felt scared at some point in our lives. All of us have been happy or sad, and then into the more complicated emotions. But I think the shutting out of emotion as it comes in male culture, as it has been developed, is a really sad development. Is a really, really sad development. Because I can only assume and I can only, make guesses at how the world would be different, but I can only imagine good things happening if people were allowed to express more emotions than they are now. Because right now, men are only allowed to express anger and occasional happiness. And, I mean, women are bound in their own way in that they're not allowed to feel angry. But it's it's just so limiting, and it's so insane to me because I've always been a crazy hormonal emotional person, um, but it's so crazy to me that people can grow up and be told that they're not allowed to experience a certain emotion their whole life, and then they have to work through actually coming up with the terms to relate to that emotion again. And I mean, I've experienced it on some level because uh, for a long time I shut out a lot of stuff, and I think I guess the reason I'm so affected by your video this morning is last night I had a panic attack, first one in about a year and a half, and it wasn't like a normal panic attack. It lasted for about 2 hours. And I was completely petrified. I could not move, and it was really an eye-opener for me because I think lately, because I've been trying to posture myself more in male culture, just because of the friends I have right now are all cis male, so I've kind of been forced into a role. Um, I think I've been subconsciously shutting out a lot of different things that I've been trying to feel, but have just come into barriers with. And so last night was a real eye-opener in terms of that because it really opened up the floodgates of what I haven't been feeling lately, of what I haven't been letting myself feel lately. And I think that's a big deal. I guess another reason that I feel what you're talking about is important, and that more guys should talk about, is there are still so many myths around going on hormones. One of the things I hear a lot from my family and from my friends back home, who are still trying to come to terms with my transition on some level, is that when I go on hormones, I'm gonna change emotionally, and it's gonna be really shocking because I've always been this crazy emotional hormonal person. And so they're like, well, you've always been like this, what's gonna happen when you don't have those feelings to fall back on anymore? And first of all, it's interesting to me what you said about feeling them differently, like in different parts of your body, because I've always kind of felt my feelings in my gut. I have this tendency to get super nauseous when I get emotional, which has led to some pretty interesting things. But I look forward to seeing where my emotions move to, if they do indeed move from my gut to somewhere else. Perhaps they will just move back more towards my core instead of forward into my gut as they have been. So that will be interesting, and I will definitely be talking about it. But I think knowing, and more people knowing that going into hormones, that your feelings aren't going to disappear, they're just going to change. From what you've been used to feeling your whole life, it's going to be a different sensation. I think that's a really important thing, and I think it's really important to help dispel those kind of, like, you're no longer going to be feeling things myth. I think that would help a lot of guys out. And I think even just the basic statement of you're allowed to feel things is very important. I feel like a lot of guys going into transition feel like they have to adapt every part of male culture, and not feeling is obviously a big part of that. And I think it's important that we spread the message that, you're allowed to feel things. You're allowed to continue to have emotions after you get on hormones. You can still be a man and, feel things. But, so I've just rambled for like 7 minutes, and I apologize for that, but I just wanted to thank you because I think you talk about a lot of stuff that other guys don't talk about, and I think it's important, and I think it means a lot to a lot of people. I know your situation's kind of rough right now, but I hope it evens out for you, and I hope you can continue to weather the storm that you have been weathering for a while now.